Today we have DEIVONE TANKSLEY here with us, who's from the New Britain Legacies program. Hello, welcome to you, DEIVONE. How's everything going?
Good. And thanks, for having me, you and Michi, for putting me on the show. Very appreciate it. How's everything going?
Everything is good. So we actually met. I met you a couple weeks ago when I interviewed you about your restaurant, My Wife Didn't Cook restaurant, which is highly successful in New Britain. Now you're moving into the Buckland Hills Mall. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
during the course of that interview, you actually said you have a nonprofit organization. So I figured, why not talk about that next?
Right. Absolutely. Yep. So, we had a wonderful interview with the Tuesday. What do you call it, Jenny?
Small Business Tuesday.
Small Business Tuesday. That's very, very helpful for a lot of businesses. You're giving them a platform during this pandemic. So that's very great. And the interview we had was wonderful. I got a lot of traction from it.
Oh, good.
A lot of eyes that didn't know me before actually heard me on your show. So it's very beneficial. I don't care. I tell people I don't care if it's 1 or 100. It's very beneficial to cross promote on different platforms to get other eyes to look at you. So Thank you for that.
Of course.
And yes, New Britain Legacies. New Britain Legacies was founded by my wife and I in 2016. And here in New Britain, we were, always involved in sports, whether it's basketball, football, but they have like the Park and Rec, and then there was another program. And one thing that I noticed from the programs was that kids would sign up, they'll get their shirt, they'll get volunteers to play basketball, they'll play their basketball for a couple months, and then once the season's over, that's it, they're gone. And me growing up, in the projects here in New Britain, Connecticut, it was different. We had mentors, we had coaches who put a little bit more into it. They would talk to us about school, about life, about things like that. So I felt that the kids was missing that piece. There wasn't no connection. So I wanted to start this program. And when we launched it, it was the New Britain Legacies Youth Development Basketball Program. And we would actually mentor the kids. We would tell them to bring their homework down. We would monitor them at a young age and say, if you drop below a C average, just like in high school, then you can practice with your team, but you'll have to sit on the bench. Teaching them that to prepare them and prep them, for the world and for school. So we launched the New Britain Legacy basketball program. And in our first season, we attracted more kids than the YMCA and Boys Club put together. Wow. We had about 210 kids from 3rd grade all the way up to 12th grade. And we just ran strong. We had volunteers. And thanks to St. Matthew's Church out here in New Britain, Connecticut, their school shut down about 8 years ago. So they had a gym that we could occupy. And I'm going to tell you, when we went into this gym had no 3-point line, no foul line. It was just wood, wood backboards, everything. And the most thing that I'm proud of is that why everybody was, and it's good to charge and make money for nonprofits because people don't understand that nonprofit organizations can make money too. You can have salaries, but I wasn't focused on that in the beginning. I was focusing on uplifting kids and making sure that they have a platform and a place to go that's safe. So instead of charging $65, $70 a kid, like the Park and Rec, which is ran by the city, and other programs, I said, let's cut it in half so it could be affordable. And we started charging $35, $40 a kid.
Wow.
And it allowed a lot of kids to come and have that experience. And what we did was every dollar that was extra, we dumped it back into the program. And literally, Jenny and Meech, within 6 months, we was able to buy, if you go to my gym now, it's amazing. We was able to take the wood backboards down and put up breakaway rims, glass backboards. We painted the whole facility from being a dark brown to like a blue and grayish color. We waxed the floor over because the floor was terrible. We got a brand new scoreboard, and we literally dumped all the money back into the program. And in 2017, made it even better. And ever since then, I just had a duty to try my best to give kids that platform, or at least give them an opportunity or a choice to say, I want to spend most of my days in the streets running around, or I want to go to the Legacy gym and play basketball, or if I have a problem or issue, I can talk to Coach DEIVONE or Coach Mike or Coach Steve or Coach Rel, because they're going to give me some advice that I'm not getting outside or at home. And that was the main goal, and we accomplished it.
Wow. So Michi, I mean, you grew up in New Britain too. I know that you two know each other. So did you find that, you know, when you were growing up, like Devon said, were there certain coaches, people that took you under their wing and just guided you? I mean, and do you think that is a missing aspect now?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that growing up, you know, New Britain is a big sports city. You know what I mean? Like just a lot, from basketball to football to baseball. Especially growing up, you know, everybody played sports. Everybody, you know, wanted to be on the teams at the high schools and stuff like that. So growing up, yeah, you did that. That was part of the culture. I think growing up now, you know, you see a lot of the younger kids, you know, especially with the social media, with all these other things that they're into now. There's not as much of that I see. But I do love to see, you know, a lot of these leagues, like what Devon was saying, that are being put together now, you know what I'm saying, to give these opportunities to some of these kids, because some of these kids do want to do that still. You know, some of these kids, they're looking up to the LeBrons, they're looking up to a lot of these athletes and want to do that. So having these type of programs are definitely needed, especially now more than anything, because especially with the schools, because a lot of the schools are shutting down a lot of those organizations. You know, there's a lot of schools that they don't necessarily have the funding to be able to have a volleyball team now, or have a baseball team now, or those type of things. So this is definitely needed.
Well, I'll tell you from personal experience as a parent, you have to pay now to be on a team in high school.
Right.
You know, you have to pay for that. And the fact that you're only charging like $35, like I pay on average for a season for my kids, like $110 on average for them to participate in sports. So I know how truly expensive it can be. And then you factor in, you know, everything else that goes on in the world, like bills and stuff. I mean, a lot of folks can't afford to put their kids in sports. They just really can't. So the fact that you're keeping the price so low and giving them such a safe space to, you know, go and practice and learn fundamentals, I think that's such a great thing.
Yeah. And let me tell you, and if it wasn't for my hustle to get out there, Jenny, and actually go and knock on doors of other businesses, I wouldn't be able to charge $35 by myself. In my first year, I attracted about 21 sponsors from local businesses around my community. There are businesses out here, whether it's a pawn shop, Jenny, whether it was a sneaker store, or in the cut barber, they became a sponsorship. That you interviewed them as well. They always would either give me free haircuts for the kids on certain days. They would help purchase jerseys. Blaze Barbershop up the street. Like I was able to go to all these businesses and say, hey, listen, I'm trying to lower the prices for these kids to get off the street and play basketball. And they would give it to me with no problem. And that's one of the things that I learned throughout my 9 or 10 years since I've been going hard with community involvement, is that when you go out there and open your mouth and ask, there are people out there who want to help, but some people just don't know how to help or what to give, because a lot of people is out there just asking for sponsorship for kids and things like this, and the money do not go there. One thing about me is a lot of people can visualize and see it. They know that when I take that money, I'm either, giving kids sponsorship. There's some kids who can't even afford the $35, where we have a sponsorship program where we'll say, okay, this $500 is going to go to the side. This $500 is going to go over here to lower the 35. Maybe a parent can pay 25, and they're honest about it. They can. There's some parents who only could pay $10. So we would use that sponsorship from other businesses to lower that price, or even give kids scholarship if they're doing right in school, doing right in home, and the parents come and confirm that and they don't have the money, well, they'll pay, for free. And that was our whole motto. And all the way up to the pandemic, where we've been closed for a few months. That's how we've been rocking and rolling. I think the best thing about this is a lot of, if you notice, a lot of communities right now, they have a lot of vacant Catholic churches who shut down. And a lot of them have gyms in there. My church was like the only one who actually gave me the keys. Usually, they open the door for you. They have someone running it. They literally liked me so much and what I was doing. They gave me the key, and I had the key since I literally had the basketball team from New Britain High practice in my gym last night because the schools or nobody don't want to open their doors for them. And can you imagine? I just had a program for 4 years, and I'm opening the doors for people who really need it, like the basketball team and AAU programs and all this. So I'm just happy to be able to help. It's not about me getting a nonprofit salary. It's not about none of that. It's about giving a platform and opening the door and giving an opportunity for those who don't have it. You know, that's the most important thing for me.
So I know you're kindergarten through 12th grade, which, wow, that's a bunch of kids, like a lot of different age groups and of course different levels of basketball. So are you finding that you have enough volunteers to help you out at this time? Or, I mean, I know right now you're closed, but when you do open again?
When we do, like yes and no. Because we was at 3rd grade, and then last year a very good friend of mine named Mike came in as a coach with us and became part of the program. And he's real good with little kids. So, and he has a young kid. He has a 2nd grader. But he was like, let me do the K through 3rd. And we launched it. We went to Walmart. We bought some little hoops. We bought like 4 of them so we could put them like side to side, lower, full court.
Oh.
And he attracted about like 70 kids, like from kindergarten. Yeah, a lot.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah. And I'm talking about like police officers who have kids was bringing their kids, nurses, like they all came down to New Britain. You know, it's a very safe area, and they had a blast. And then the pandemic happened, so they had to you know, shut it down for a little while. But when we come back, we're definitely always looking for volunteers, and we just want volunteers that really. You know, sometimes you get volunteers who their kid is playing in there, so they're going to give you their time just because their kid playing in there. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people don't have time if their kid is not in it. But we just want people that if you're going to volunteer and your kid is in it, like, you know, do it for both. You know, do it for your kid, do it for yourself, and also do it for the other kid who probably don't have daddy at home, who probably don't have no one to teach them. Because a lot of that times you'll overlook that because you're trying to focus just on your kid. You know, when I came into the program, I have 4 boys and 2 girls, right? So I was a leader of the whole organization, and there was 12 teams, and I would have to root for every team on the court, whether my son was on blue or. And I did it literally with my heart. And people looked at me and they were like, how do you separate it? I said, because I look at all of them like my kids. And this is just a learning experience. I don't care who win or who lose. I want to make sure that every kid leaves this game with learning something, whether they win or lose. So it's easy for me to, good shot, John, you know, whether he's my son or not, or good job, Jacob. Yeah. So that was my motto. My motto was, give these kids everything they need.
Yes.
And forget about the win or loss, you know, because they're only kids. They need to learn something. So when they get older, they understand win or loss. And the genius thing I think that we did was that usually when you go to a sports facility or a championship game and after you win, you get a 2nd place and a 1st place. In the first year, parents didn't understand why I was only given the 1st place championship, because I said, every program I've been into, 1st place and 2nd place get a trophy. And I said, I understand that, but we're trying to teach the kids that, you know, we want that one person to fight, that one team to fight for the championship, because when they get to high school and when they get to college and when they get to the NBA, if they're shooting for that, you know, there's really no participation trophy. You know, you get a trophy and that's it. And then it teaches the other kid, I want that. So in order to get there, what do we have to do? Oh, we have to work harder. And we didn't see kids throughout the years work harder, and the next team win the championship. And then they all return and then work harder, and then another team would win a championship. So we would push them as opposed to them settling for 2nd place. And that was the genius thing we did.
Yeah. And I love the fact too that you're pushing, this is supposed to be fun. Because, you know, that's the thing with my son plays baseball, and we're like, just go out there and have fun, you know, do your best. but have fun, because a lot of
Yep.
kids, they feel a lot of pressure around a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
And that's why
right.
I like the fact that you also say, you know, as far as part of your mission is that, you know, you reinforce teamwork, sportsmanship. You teach the skills in basketball, which is super important. A lot of times I find with programs too, it's kind of like, oh, they're not naturally talented. Okay, you're going to kind of count that kid out. No, these kids need to learn, you know,
How to build them
learn
up.
how to be great. So I think that that's just such a great thing.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask Michi, when you were growing up, and 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 you know, it was a little different back then, back in the day with sports. But what would you say was the hardest thing growing up during the 80s and the 90s, where we grew up, where violence was everywhere, and everybody was trying to figure out their way? What would you think was the hardest part? And then being able to slip through and see a different world out there.
I think the hardest part was probably the pressure between you and your friends, or you and the quote unquote it crowd. I think growing up, you know, you wanted to be, you know, everybody wanted to be Michael Jordan. Everybody wanted to play ball. Everybody wanted to be in the NFL. They wanted those things. You go to school, you want to be a part of these teams and stuff like that. But then at the same time, you come from the same streets as everybody, so you're around it. You see some of the people that are older than you that you might look up to, that you're like, oh man, well, he's running around doing this, so I want to run around and do that too. And it was kind of hard to separate the two, you know, if I could say that. It was kind of hard to separate the two, because it's like you knew you needed to do the right thing, and you needed to go to school, and you needed to go to practice, and you needed to go get better. But then at the same time, you see your friends doing this over here, so you're like, oh man, but all my friends is over here, so I need to go over there and do that. So I think it was just separating the two. That was the hardest thing.
I think you hit it right on the nose. I literally would agree with you with that. But let me tell y'all something. So something y'all might know or might not know. The story's been covered a lot, you know, throughout my journey of building my platform, whether it's a nonprofit organization, a restaurant, me writing my 2 books, author, whatever I've been involved in. At the age of 11, I was going to Slade High School. And this is where my passion comes from, building this nonprofit organization and focusing on community leadership. I was going to Slade Middle School, and I was a young kid, and I got in trouble because I've wanted to be. I was that kid where they said that was a bad kid, but I wasn't bad. It was a lot of anger coming from the projects. It was a lot of pain that I was holding in. It was a lot of things that I was struggling with, and I would express it in a way that wasn't good when I went to school, which allowed me to have a tussle with one of my teachers, because she took my yo-yo, and I'm 11 years old trying to take it out of her pocket, and as she's pulling away and I'm pulling, didn't realize that she had stitches on her stomach, and I ripped them out. So at 11 years old, they called the police. I was already on probation for truancy because I used to just not want to go to school. And they took me to Hartford detention. And at 11 years old, I spent 6 months in a detention home. And from 11 all the way to about 20 years old, I'm 34 right now. I was in and out of either the juvenile system, the prison system, residential system. So this means a lot to me when I built this platform. And it even meant even more to me when the deputy warden and the warden reached out to me about 2 years ago, and we implemented the Legacy program in MYI. So I also have the Legacy program in MYI as well. I go up there with about 10 volunteers. Before the pandemic, we was going up there with 10 volunteers, and they had about 150 kids. We created teams, and we would mentor them, and they played in the gym. The first ever basketball program to ever be implemented in a New England prison, period. 2 years ago, that was my program, and it's still in there to this day. They're waiting for the pandemic to be over. So when I say it means too much to me to give this away or to quit or to stop, because kids came home. I had parents call me and say, my son is home and he has a job now. He said you changed his life. I got kids who come home right now and remember my phone number and call me and say, I just wanted to let you know I'm home. I don't want anything, but if I need some advice, I'm going to give you a call. So that's bigger than life to me right there.
Absolutely.
And that's why I continue to keep doing what I'm doing.
That's such a
That's
beautiful
amazing.
story. It
Yeah.
really is. And you know, the fact that you could have just kept doing what you was doing, but you changed your life and now you're giving back. You know, you're paying it forward to kids that really need it. And I just
Yeah.
think that that's such a wonderful thing.
Mhm. Yes, yes. It means the world to me, and for my young kids to see that as well. I got a 16-year-old son. I got a 15-year-old son. I got a 12-year-old son and a 9-year-old son, and I got 2 daughters. And for them to see the way that their friends talk about me or look up to me, or the way I invest in their friends and invest in themselves, it opens their mind. And when I have conversations with them, I know that I've done my part, and I'm gonna continue to try my best to just impact other people. I think that's when people ask, you know, what's success to you? I think success to me is not owning, you know, restaurants all over the world or owning these nonprofits. I think success to me is when I could impact a person, and that person can impact another person, and that ripple goes on forever. I think that's the success. You know, I was able to give a sponsorship to a couple kids who needed books for school, and I broke it down to the guy who won, and I said, listen, don't worry about how much it was, because he was so happy. He was like, no one has never gave us this for me to get books. I said, I feel that the money that I've sponsored you to get those books, if you do your part, my blessings will go on forever, because those books are going to set you on a path and a journey of your life that you want to accomplish and succeed. So imagine how many ripples of blessings is going to come back my way. And he started crying. So it's like, I live for days that I posted on Facebook the other day. I said, I only want to become a billionaire so I can give it all away. And I don't mean it in the paper sense. I mean it in the sense of platforms. I only want to become a billionaire to build greater platforms for the kids out here that we're losing to the streets, to build greater opportunities, computer classes, sports facilities, anything that I know that can give our kids and our youth a platform that I didn't have. That's all I do it for. And I'm on my way.
You certainly are. I mean, and I just love the fact that you're giving back to your community. I mean, and people are supposed to do that anyway, but folks just don't always do that. And the fact that you're from New Britain, you saw what was broken and you're helping to fix it. Plus you're getting small businesses involved, you know, to give back into the community. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed. So with COVID being a problem right now, when are you looking to possibly restart this program?
All right, so they just had a board meeting and told me that so they allowed me, I don't know if y'all know Danny Longhorn, but he played overseas. He's a young basketball player out here. He's actually about to head out again, but he's had like a semi-pro event a couple of weeks ago at my facility, and he had people from all over come down, Boston, New York, New Jersey, and it was just a battle for the title. And they approved his event. So after they approved his event and we had a successful event with no one getting sick, checking temperatures, going through that process, they told me that I could send in a proposal to get the gym back open for the kids, as long as we know how we're going to keep them safe. So we're shooting for the wintertime. Since the summertime, they were all outside. It wasn't really a rush to get them in there. Yeah. Now we're shooting for the wintertime to get the doors back open. And once we get them doors back open, we're going to get back to the training, back to the program. And we're going to try to see if we get the gym 7 days a week. So it's very, very open. But we want to see if we could balance out just only focusing on basketball. We want to focus on a little bit more than basketball. There's girls out there that play basketball. There's girls out there that play volleyball. There's baseball. There's football. Even if we can't do it in the gym, we can still do the training piece to give them that platform, because there's no indoor facility that's allowing them to still do this. So we want to be a little creative and try to help in every area that we can, the best that we can. Also, too, the classrooms, there's classrooms where their school shut down. And it's about 8 to 10 classrooms. And they approved us like 2 years ago, before pandemic, but 2 years ago when we started creating a plan that we can take over these classrooms, because we had ideas that we want to build these classrooms into mentor classrooms. Kids can come in and do their homework. We wanted to build a game room. I had talks with ESPN of helping build a game room, sponsored by ESPN. So these conversations was happening before the pandemic that I want to pick back up on. Weight room, just different rooms in the class where we can turn it into a nice facility, almost like its own Boys and Girls Club or YMCA, but more independent, with people who look like them, who've been down the same road they've been through, and could really help and inspire the kids. So that's what I want to turn that facility in. And we're getting close, and the church organizers been rocking with us ever since then. They love us occupying their building. They trust us. They believe in our mission and our vision. And I think we're going to get there.
Great. You know, I have to say too, as a parent, the thing I've struggled with is, you know, like my kids aren't even going to school. They're at home. So the sports programs are like on top of building skills and, you know, their socialization. They're the times that they actually get to be around other kids, you know, with structure. So these programs are incredibly, I think they're more important than ever. You know, and so how can we help you out, DEIVONE? Like, how can we help out with the New Britain Legacies program? How can we donate? How can we volunteer? What do we do if we want to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So New Britain Legacies, we have a Facebook page.
Okay.
Where they can, I answer as much as I can. It's just New Britain Legacies on Facebook. Also, we have a phone number up there, up on the Facebook page. It either goes to one of my staff or it goes to me directly. They can also just email newbritainlegacies@gmail.com. And also too, I'm very open with my information because a lot of people contact me. They can reach out to me personally if they can't get in touch with none of those platforms. On Facebook, on Instagram, DEIVONE TANKSLEY. You know, my restaurant headquarters is located in New Britain. Like, people find their way to get in touch with me. When it comes to you guys, Jenny, like as far as especially the radio station, I think the best thing that you guys could do is what you're doing now. Like, literally, like, given that platform. You know, I always tell people that when they see you and Michi and they see you guys on the radio, one thing that I've noticed and I know is that you guys don't have to do this. You guys can just do your show. You can do whatever's supposed to happen. You can keep it moving. For you guys to take out of your time to do extra stuff, to give, because y'all have that platform, to give people a voice on your platform, to bring awareness to what's going on in communities and nonprofits and business. That's just the biggest thing ever that anybody on a radio platform can do, because you're not obligated to do that. You know, that's your choice. And I think that's the best thing you guys could do. I think when we have an event, I can reach out to you guys. You guys,
we're coming.
Yes, people love to see the radio station come out and support.
Come on, he's from New Britain. I live right next to New Britain. We're good. We got this, man. We'll be there.
That's good. That's
and we love the kids. We love the kids.
That's what I'm saying. And the kids love you guys, you know, and I think that'd be amazing. You know, just keeping that connection, you know, knowing, oh, this event, it's the playoff event, and Jenny Boom Boom and Michi is hosting the playoff event for the kids. Like, that.
I won't know what I'm talking about.